What is up, TF reviewers? It's IAmMoose for the win, back at you with another Transformers review. Today we're looking at the Creatures Collide 4-pack Deluxe Class Goldbug. Now, I was most excited about this one more than any of the others in the pack, just because I've been dying for a classic G1 style Goldbug for a while. I read the IDW one-shot about Metroplex, and Goldbug was kind of a main character in that storyline, and I just fell in love with the idea of having him and Bumblebee being two separate people. I just thought that was a great idea. It adds more playability when you have like more characters, but at the same time, if you want to have it be where this is the grown-up version of Bumblebee, this is a great version of him to have representing that. It's really surprising that they would go with this classic VW mold, because I thought there was some kind of like rights discrepancy or something over the molding for this bug, because the Netflix Bumblebee used it and only Walmart had rights to that, but this is a Target exclusive. I don't know, I'm not complaining, I'm happy about it. This is the version of Goldbug that I would have rather it have been, instead of the what is it, the Cliff Jumper, like generic sports car mold, but it's still a good mold either way. Either one would have been good for me. I just love the color scheme on this one, and it works. Before we get into the transformation, here he is next to said Netflix Bumblebee. You can definitely tell the difference in the gold and the craft singles color. I mean, like, they both look great, but side by side, one definitely looks like cheese. And now I'm hungry. Moving on. Sorry. He comes with your standard parts former rocket launcher for this mold. You know, if you have any figures in this mold or the Cliff Jumper mold, you'll have one of these. I do like the Thanos armor color scheme. The gold and the dark blue works really well for this one. So a lot of people already know how these things work, because this is a very common mold now, but I'm just going to go ahead and do the thing anyway. You take this, you unfold it, peg this right there. Where's it? Peg these on the sides here. And then these runners you peg under the wheels. And you have snowmobile mode for the downhill alpine shootouts. It's got a serious James Bond vibe going on with this mold. Like, it works best with the VW Bug for something like this, because it reminds you of an old spy movie. Because where else would you see something like that going? And with this mold, you are able, I thought you were able to like lift the back up and peg the rocket launcher in and have it sticking out, but I've not been able to figure out how to really do that. But moving on. Transformation for this guy is a little bit trickier than the standard mold, because the joints are very tight. And with the gold plastic, I'm a little leery on actually breaking it, so I'm going to be very careful with this thing. So what I do is I try to move the back panel out of the hands very carefully, because it's a very snug fit. This whole back panel here is supposed to come off like that, and it's held in by the hands themselves. So with them both being in there, it's very, very snug, so you got to kind of wiggle it out just very gently. Yeah, my last video, I explained my voice is still recovering from the plague, so my next couple of videos are probably going to be a little rough on the ears, so I apologize. So you have this guy, and you unfold this little handle for later, and you can use this as like the handheld shield for bot mode, or just like kind of peg it in the back. That's what I usually do, just for storage, because it actually adds a bit of structural integrity to the back, and you'll see why in a minute. Take the back panel, lift that up, and then the doors, take them off, separate the feet, lift the head down, separate the legs, bring the whole leg assembly down and the arm assembly up at the same time. Snap the chest. It'll wrap around these two little hook things right here, kind of securing them in place. Turn the whole hip assembly around. Adjust the arms. Now the legs, I love the legs on these things because they're kind of intricate and simple at the same time. So you move the wheel down, the whole foot comes down, and then this peg here goes into any of the spokes on the wheel. Just like that. Doot, 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 doot. Come on, go in. There you go. And then peg that in the back there. And there you have Goldbug. Very nice head sculpt, very awesome paint job. You can definitely tell the difference in the plastics that they use. One of them's painted, one of them's just solid gold, so it adds a bit of two different color tones for the gold. It's not one solid gold. And it's not as bad as it was on Sunstreaker, but it's still noticeable, but not terrible. You know, it looks like Bumblebee has some gold on him, and it works for him. I like the Autobot logo nice and centered there on his chest instead of off to the side on one of Bumblebee's feet. And then for comparison, here he is next to good old boy Cliff Jumper. It's basically the same mold, just with a few panel differences, but the transformation's identical for everything on this mold. But Goldbug is easily the best looking bot mode that they had, other than the Bumblebee. And here he is next to Buzzworthy Origins Bumblebee. I like using this Bumblebee for its bot mode, and I like using the Netflix Bumblebee for its car mode. It's just a very striking figure. The head sculpt works for it. In contrast, it's a very simple figure, but it's a very dynamic look. Playability is there. The collectability is great. Like, if you know the character, even if you don't know the character, this guy just looks amazing. And then here's all the little dudes next to Big Bot. So I love how they're getting the scaling right on all these guys. They're all the right height, they're all small, or they're the right big chunkiness. Speaking of big chunky, I kind of made this a tradition in all of my videos to compare everything with Grimlock for size. So yeah, little dude doesn't even come up to his knee. Love it. Just kind of stands on him. Yeah, I love this figure. Highly recommend. And there you have Creatures Collide Goldbug.